Ever since the changes to poise with Ashes of Ariandel, people have been seeing a lot more, full Havel's Greatsword builds, and especially since Greatswords got buffed where their poise starts a lot quicker now, so it's a lot harder to deal with these types of weapons, but luckily there is a weapon that doesn't give a shit about that. The Pickaxe does not care. It does not care if you're in full Havels and you have a Greatsword. It doesn't care if you're in full Havels. If you have an Ultra Greatsword, it's still going to outtrade you. It outtrades pretty much every single R1 in the game. And this is accomplished by the fact that it does thrust damage and the fact that you can wear the Leo ring to boost counter hits even more. It is basically meant for trading. It is the trading king. So it does an amazing amount of counter damage with the Leo ring, but another good thing about trading with the Pickaxe is the amount of poise health it has is extremely high. Basically, poise health is a multiplier that determines how quickly your poise is going to go down, and the Great Hammers have the highest amount in the entire game. So, even with something like 38 to 40 poise, there is pretty much no R1 in the game that can interrupt you, assuming you're in your poise frames, which, by the way, are pretty much during the entire attack. I'm not going to go into the specifics of how poise works in this game. I think Big Hat Logan did a really good explanation of that, and I will link that in the description. But basically, another great thing is you can use the Galvanized Weapon Art to reset your poise health back to 100%. Now, if you do this, you are pretty much uninterruptible while in your poise frames by pretty much anything. There is almost nothing short of like a charged R2 from a Great Hammer that will actually interrupt you if you reset your poise health back to 100. Other than that, you'll be at 80% most of the time, and you'll still be able to poise through pretty much everything. And also, Great Hammers do the most poise damage as well. So not only do they have the biggest poise health, they have the biggest poise damage as well. Which means if someone has a Greatsword and they don't have more than like 55 poise, which pretty much 99% of people don't have, you're going to interrupt them and just keep going. So overall, it is pretty nasty how badly you can trade with the actual Pickaxe. Another amazing thing about the Pickaxe is it is not as slow as the other Great Hammer class weapons. It retains the benefits in terms of poise health and poise damage, but it is much faster than the rest of the Great Hammers. So the speed is comparable to a Greatsword. It's virtually the exact same speed as a Greatsword if we're talking about the first R1. And the first R1 is kind of what matters because we're looking to do staggered R1s with the Pickaxe. So the problem is the range of the Pickaxe is very tiny. You have a little bit of forward momentum with the swing, but it's not much. Here is a good example of the standing range of a Pickaxe. This is a max range hit. It's a little bit longer than the model indicates, so it's workable, but it's still short range. So what you need to master is using the opponent's forward momentum of their attacks against them. Things like, spears and greatswords, they all have a little bit of like a forward movement in the attack. So when they're swinging, they're moving closer to you as they are swinging. And you need to use their motion against them and swing at the same time. So by the time that you're beginning to connect with the ground, they've already moved into range with you. Even though they're going to hit you as well, you're still going to heavily outtrade them. So the Pickaxe shines when it's trading, and with anything, with a greatsword speed or slower, you will trade very easily. The Pickaxe pretty much demolishes all of these weapons. The problem is when you get to the very small quick weapons like thrusting swords and, curve swords and things like that, you run into the same problem all the Ultras have in this game, into where the recovery is too high and the attacks are too slow to where they can attack once, hit you while you're still attacking, and just roll away before you can actually connect the swing. So, the only way to actually reliably combat that is to guess when they are going to attack. Now the thing is, if you begin to swing with your Pickaxe when somebody begins swinging their S-Stock, you're not going to hit them because on their screen, they started that attack half a second ago. It's not lined up with, what you see on your screen. So by the time you actually connect, they're already rolling away, and you'll get that scenario where you hit them. They'll still be in an animation where it looks like you're hitting them. You'll hear the blood splatter, and then half a second later, they'll roll away and nothing happens. That's, a good visualization of how latency works in this game. So you can't rely on them starting their attacks with the quick weapon. You need to basically gauge their aggression and see if they have any pattern in when they attack, and then just guess. That's what it's going to come down to, just pure guesswork. Because it is fast enough to make them, actually trade if they kind of, don't think you're going to swing at the same time. And it's not like an Ultra Greatsword or a Great Hammer where even if they screw up, they still have time to hit you and roll away. It's as fast as a Greatsword, so if they screw up at all, you'll definitely end up wrecking them. But unfortunately, it does come down to guesswork. You need to just analyze if they have any patterns whatsoever and base your guesses on that. You can also run into them while blocking. For some reason, I've noticed that encourages either people to kick or maybe get more aggressive because they think I'm taking a defensive stance. It's more of a little mind game than anything. It doesn't always work. But you need to do whatever you can to basically condition your opponent into attacking when you want them to attack. And then right before that happens, you need to begin your swing. So a lot of this is going to be a lot of guesswork against these small, really good meta weapons, and that's the difficult part. If you're fighting a greatsword or anything slower, poise, who gives a shit what they have? It doesn't matter. You will annihilate them. But if they have one of these small weapons, you need to get really good at guessing, and that would be the correct way to play it. Don't ever bother with the R2s on this weapon. There's no point. The range of it, you will never roll catch. It's not like an Ultra Greatsword where you can roll into them and do a rolling R2 and you'll catch them as they're coming out of the roll. The range is entirely too short to ever hit anybody with like a rolling R2 with a pickaxe. It's too short to hit them with a regular R2, and that doesn't combo and ends up doing less damage than a regular R1, and it's the exact same attack as well. So this is definitely a staggered R1 weapon, and it will annihilate anything with poise and hyper armor. That is not even a slight issue. The only thing you have to worry about is the quick weapons that can hit you and roll away. But even then, it only takes 1 or 2 mistakes from your opponent and they're dead. So get good at guessing when they're going to attack, and then not only will the pickaxe outtrade everything, greatsword and slower, it will outtrade pretty much everything in the game. The pickaxe is not a meme weapon anymore. It's not the Dark Souls 2 naked guy with, the silly peasant hat. Oh, he's using a pickaxe weapon. It can actually wreck everybody. You just need to know how to use it, and you need to be good at analyzing your opponent's behavior and seeing when they're going to attack. But that's pretty much how you play with any trading weapon. The pickaxe just does it really well because it's very fast and has a bunch of poise health. So give it a try. It is not a meme weapon anymore. It is a beast.